Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy Evan coming to you with another video tonight, right? So I want to talk to you about a little thing involving Trump, the Supreme Court, and about 500,000 migrants from all over the place, man. They're from Cuba, they're from Venezuela, and they're from Nicaragua. And actually, you know, those are the only three countries that were mentioned. But yeah, so you may or may not know, but a lower court tried to block Trump from revoking these people's humanitarian parole, which is different than being given asylum. It's different than being given a green card. It's different than being given residency or citizenship or anything like that, right? It's like a temporary order that you could be here and work for 18 months, then you got to go back. Most of these were granted at the very end of Biden's presidency, and Trump saw that and he was like, nah, Brody, you completely abuse this system, and we're going to get into that. But before we go ahead and get into this video and we get into some of the facts, I would really appreciate it if you, yes you viewer, if you would do me the honor of subscribing to my channel, hitting that like button, and commenting a few words. Tell me what you like about this video, tell me what you dislike, and tell me about your day, man. Tell me whatever. And now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and roll the film.
All right, let's go back to that breaking news we told you about before the break. The Supreme Court has just cleared the Trump administration to temporarily end humanitarian parole protections for 500,000 immigrants. The justices lifted these protections from migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Let's bring in CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez. Camilo, what more can you tell us about this ruling?
Hi, Mugo. This ruling will place 500,000 people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela in legal limbo and will allow the Trump administration to terminate their parole legal status and also their work permits that have allowed them to live and work in the U.S. legally, but on a temporary basis. These are migrants from these four crisis-stricken countries who were allowed to legally come to the U.S. under a Biden administration program that was designed to discourage them from crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally.
The thing that I hate about that is that it still caused the same effect of what we didn't want to happen, right? Oh, well, they're coming through the process, you know, we at least have a head count. A head count means absolutely nothing if you're not turning these people back around. You're going to keep them for 18 months and afford them all these extra benefits. It's asinine. It's almost insulting to willingly let these people in and give them all the same benefits with no requirements of, hey, these are all the expectations we have for a normal person immigrating to the U.S. But you, since you were in Nicaragua at the right time, we're going to let you just come here, work. Oh, and we're going to give you all these benefits too that we afford to migrants. You guys that have been living here for 3 or 4 generations, sorry, should have been born in Nicaragua.
But the Trump administration, Mugo, has argued that this policy was unlawful, that it was an abuse of this humanitarian parole policy that the Biden administration used on a very unprecedented scale, and that it needed to be terminated. And now,
you know, I actually like that he brought that up because I had a little something prepared for this, right? So he says an unprecedented amount, right? 500,000 migrants. I want you, before we check it out, imagine how many people do you think is typical for this program? Humanitarian parole. This isn't people immigrating. It's not asylum. Humanitarian parole. Just ballpark estimate in your head. What do you think is the norm for a program like this? You got that number? All right, now let's check out the figures from 2008 to 2014. So not even the Trump one, right? This is Bush to Obama. You could see that Bush, it looks like, had a huge amount of people that he let in comparison to Obama. Biden let in 500,000. You could add all these numbers together for the years of 08 to 2014, and you still wouldn't touch the amount of humanitarian parole that Biden put out, man.
Now, the Supreme Court is allowing the administration to revoke that legal status and now to place these migrants at risk of deportation. The caveat is that some of these migrants, Mugo, may be able to stay here through other means because they have applied for other immigration benefits like asylum or a green card. Cubans, for example, can be eligible for permanent residency or a green card under a Cold War era law, and so those migrants will not be eligible for deportation. But anyone who does not have another immigration status can now be deported from the U.S., and the administration has made this warning very clear. If you are here illegally, you must self-deport. If not, you could face arrest and deportation from the country.
Yeah, a big ruling there from the Supreme Court affecting thousands of people. Wow, Camila Montoya Galvez, thank you so much for your reporting. Now let's go to CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, can you help us break down this ruling?
Yeah, and great reporting by Camila. So what we have here is the Supreme Court granting the Trump administration's emergency request to say, pause the lower court ruling. I know it feels like I say this almost every day now, where we're talking about lower court rulings, what they say, and whether or not they will go into effect. But what we have here is a lower court, a trial court, that said that the Trump administration's attempt to terminate this parole program, that it could not go into effect while the case is being played out. The Trump administration essentially emergency appealed first up to the circuit court, then up to the Supreme Court. And what we have is the Supreme Court today saying, okay, we're going to pause that lower court decision, meaning the Trump administration's desire to end this particular program will be in effect, meaning the program is ended for now. I do want to caution that this isn't a final ruling on the merits from the trial court, from the circuit court, or from the Supreme Court.
Okay, so now everyone is concerned about the merits of a trial, right? They didn't care about the merits of election interference. Did you guys know that when people tell you that they didn't find any evidence in any of these trials, and they did all these trials for election interference with 2020, that they never actually even went to trial? They all got struck down off a lack of standing. That has nothing to do with merit. So basically saying that it doesn't matter what smoking gun evidence you have, the fact that you are you and you don't have the authority to bring this court case to me means that we're not even going to hear it. We'll never know how much election interference happened that year. And that's something America's just going to have to take to the chin, man.
So, Jessica, just a quick clarification for me here. Does the case then still go on? Or what's...
So, yes, it looks to me like, and of course this is breaking news story, that the case does still go on.
Okay.
The Trump administration had argued that the case can't go on because this is not judicially reviewable, meaning that they have the power to say we're ending this program. The Trump administration had said, again, judges essentially have no particular role here. But I think this is just the Supreme Court. It looks like by 7-2, we have dissents by Justice Sotomayor and Justice Jackson, very lengthy and vigorous dissents, saying the program goes into effect for now. It could meaning the end of the program goes into effect for now. And this could be where we end up long term.
Okay, Jessica Levinson, thank you so much for helping us break that down.
Now, mind you, it's a 7-2 decision. You have two radical liberal judges on the Supreme Court, but there's no law they could actually point to make this judicially reviewable, as she said. There is no legislation put forth by Congress or by the judiciary through review that you can hold the Trump administration to regarding this program. Executive government has the power and authority to remove its own programs and to create its own programs. Them just the facts, dog. I made this. You can't tell me that I can't get rid of it. I brought it into this country. I'll take it out of this country. You feel me? I know a lot of my homies probably felt that from a spiritual level of parents making that threat. But nonetheless, the block from Trump ending this program is gone, as they like to clarify for now. But guess what? If I end the program right now and start deporting everyone else, and by some haywire nightmare decision, they decide that this program has to stay, guess who I am not letting back into this country again? Yeah, no. This is basically signing the death warrant of this program. I firmly believe that the program, even in court as it continues through the case, will be completely dissolved. I don't think they have a winning chance because, as I mentioned, there's no legislative policy that they can point to make this judicially reviewable. There is no legal precedent in judicial review that they can point to make this judicially reviewable. This is an executive branch program created by the executive branch with the authority resting solely in the executive branch to dissolve this program. And that's exactly what Trump's doing. So,
Heard you got deported, dude. Bye.
bye. Shout out to Theo Vaughn, man. It's a funny dude. But that is this situation in a nutshell. These people will be deported, with exception to the Cubans, because the Cubans have special legal precedent and law from the Cold War era. And you know what? I'm cool with that, man. Because the difference being is that Cubans they come to America grateful, man. Cubans, they're some of the most American people you'll meet. Anywho, that was the video. I think that's where I'm going to go ahead and end it. Tell me what you think, man. Do you think that the courts got this right, the 7-2 decision? Do you think that the program shouldn't end and we should keep all of these parolees? Sound like criminals, right? Yeah, but do you think we should have kept the humanitarian parole? Let me know what you genuinely think, and maybe I'll cover it. Or let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you agree with the court. Was this the right decision? I think it was, personally. Anyways, I'm Evan. This was the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.